Begin by stripping off the minimal support material and checking for loose filament. There are often some overhanging strands which can easily be trimmed with a knife. Take the small coaster ring and press it into the groove at the top of the mug cap and fasten with a little glue if desired. It is intentionally raised to make a tidy coaster for the cup. Take the larger ring and press it into the groove of the base, and once again fasten with some glue if desired. This ring should be flush. The support material on the legs and the brim can easily be removed, and then overhanging filament trimmed with a knife. This helps the legs slot into the base and does not affect the strength of the hinge. So precision is not the biggest factor here. The same process can be repeated for all 3 legs, and then they're ready to be inserted into the base. The legs can now be snapped into the base. They should make a little bit of a click. And then scrap filament can be used as hinge pins. I found it makes it easier to align the curve of the filament with the round of the cylindrical shape. These pins are fairly tight, but can be pushed in with a little bit of effort. The tolerance should be about right. The extra ends can be trimmed with a knife or melted into place with a soldering iron. It works well to put the knife blade into the acute angle between the pin and the base, and then cut backwards for a nice flush hinge pin. Be extremely careful with sharp knife blades. The stand is now complete, and the nano can now be fitted into the case. Place the nano in the upside down stand and hold the legs firmly with one hand. Taking the mug cap in the other hand, line up the arrows with the arrows on the legs. Then begin to twist, right to lock, left to unlock. At first it'll be a little difficult because the locking tabs will need to deform slightly to make a good fit. After several tries it should lock with a firm click and then unlock easily. Because PETG is a very tough material, it may be necessary to slightly trim the locking tabs, which you can see here with a knife. But be careful not to over trim them, because this will compromise the locking mechanism. You may notice some wear on the legs as the extra material from the cap mug gets rubbed off, and this is normal, and after the initial fitting should not get worse. So that's just part of the process. For normal use, make sure the charging cutout aligns with the charging port on the nano so that you can charge the nano while it is in the case. Notice the handle acts as a roll protection so the nano will not roll off a table. The basic transit is now complete, and now containers and lids can be configured. We'll start with the coaster lid. The coaster ring can be glued into the slot and glue added as needed. For the customizable lid, the support material can be quickly removed, and then the customizable insert can be glued in. This one definitely needs glue. It won't work without glue. But be careful with super glue, it can often discolor plastic, so test on a small area or use a very small amount. And then of course there's the basic lid that can just simply be screwed onto the container if that's the look that you want. Now is a good time to decide what order you want your containers in. There's the capsule container, the accessory container, and the large container. So take the container that you want at the bottom and screw the connector ring into it. Before it's all the way screwed in, add some glue. This is optional but recommended so that the ring stays in the bottom container instead of getting stuck in the basic Outin transit. Now each container can be successively screwed onto the stack and then capped off with your chosen lid. Your Outin transit is now fully assembled and customized. Now it's up to you to keep it rugged.